Welcome everybody to yet another live interview with Become a Fearless Father. And I have the pleasure to introduce Hani Mourra of Repurpose.io. I hope I said your name correctly. And before we go into the whole background story and introducing you, I have a quick question, man. Because we were just talking about it, right? That you don't hear something and all of a sudden somebody introduces you to something and it comes all over the place. And now I see your software and I'm just like, it is so ingenious. I'm just wondering, how does one come up with something so ingenious that it helps, especially not even starting, just any entrepreneur that has lots of content to just, save so much time?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. It's all customer user driven. So basically I started maybe like 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. I wanted to create my first software, and I created a WordPress plugin that takes YouTube videos and embeds them on your blog automatically. That was my first kind of venture into my own software. And I was doing it for myself. I was like, hey, I was a video blogger. I was doing tutorials. I hated the fact I had to kind of copy the embed code, make a blog post, blah, 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 blah. So I created that many years, like 7 years ago. It's still alive, still a product out there. But that evolved into a podcasting plugin, evolved into a Facebook Live plugin from user feedback. Say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And then from the plugins, people said, hey, can you go beyond WordPress? Like my customers, my friends, I call them customers, but they're really friends, users. They're like, hey, what you're doing is awesome. I love the automation. I don't have to make blog posts anymore, but it'd be cool if you can take my Facebook Live and put it on YouTube. It'd be cool if you take my podcast, make it into a video. So it's all just kind of people who use my existing software and say, hey, I like it. Can you go one step beyond? And that's how Repurpose was born. It's probably, I want to say, almost to the day now, maybe a few days off, that it's kind of just been 2 years with Repurpose right now. It's the second year. It completed 2 years, so it's 2 years old.
Nice. Congrats. That's awesome.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're saying pretty much is just be focused on your customers' challenges, their problems, what they need, and you will come up with something that is valuable for them, right?
Yes,
Nice.
exactly.
I like that.
And it's about sticking to what you enjoy. Like the first software I created, WordPress plugin, I liked WordPress a lot. I was using it a lot. I like YouTube. I was doing a lot of video tutorials on YouTube. So I kind of solved my own problem of automating that. And then I thought, I want to keep going. I got some good success with this. People are liking my tools. They like my style of software automation. And then, what else can we do? And then someone said, hey, have you heard of podcasting? Oh, what's podcasting? This is like 7 years ago. So I'm like, oh, let's learn more about that, and got involved in that community. Really great community. I love it. Then someone said, take your YouTube plugin, make one for podcasting. Okay, cool. So I wasn't inventing like a personal training app or jumping into different markets. Like I've always been a content creator myself. Always been a software guy creating. Then I ended up making tools for content creators, and then it evolved into tools for audio content creators, podcasters. A couple of years later, live streaming came. Still another piece of content. How do we help distribute that to their blog? So that's how the other plugin was born. So my point being is that I stuck with the same kind of audience, content creator. I didn't jump markets. Oh, personal training, and then 2 years later, I'm doing real estate apps. It's not, people don't get to know you that well. So people get to know me in the content space, and I love it. That's what I do. I'm a content creator myself, so I know the challenges myself. So it's good to kind of stick when you have some success, or forget about success. When you have some momentum and you enjoy it, you're really enjoying the space. Like I enjoy it. Like I go to conferences and I see people, they're customers, but I'm like, I treat them as friends. Like, hey, how's it going? Give a hug. Like, I haven't seen you since last year's conference. How you been? You kind of build that friendship, that community with that space. So that's another thing I found worked really well for me, and it made it more fun. I kind of meet the same people over and over again. And, people who use one software will end up using another software because it helps them as well.
Exactly. Wow, that's really cool, man. I love it. And one of the things, because, for example, you're talking about, building up relationships. And I saw, for example, a testimonial of John Lee Dumas, which is you. I try to be on his show. He's actually asking money to come on his podcast. So I was like, wow, man, that's pretty cool to have such a guy there that, is using your tools, right?
Yeah. And it's basically, like I said, it's like relationships. I mean, it's a funny story how it's really funny story, actually. My first plugin that I launched, the beta tester for the first plugin, the YouTube plugin, he loved my software. And then when I released my podcast plugin, which was a couple years later, he became a beta tester. And he happened to be in Podcaster's Paradise. He had a coaching call with John about something. John saw this unique podcast player. He's like, "What's this all about?" And then that's how I got introduced to John. And then we've been knowing each other for all past 5-6 years now. And then when I released Repurpose, he's like, "Oh, dude, I need this," right? He's been doing it all. His team has been doing it manually, so now he's using it for Repurpose as well. And it's just, you don't know, you're not focusing on, oh, let me go meet these influencers and get in front of them. You're focused on, all right, just create something you love, create something that helps people, and then just don't force it, because relationships happen. And then, when I met John the first time, it was 2014 at one of the first podcasting conferences, I was like, almost like starstruck. I was like, wow, it's good to meet you in person and stuff. Now it's been a couple of years, realize that he's just a really down to earth guy. He's just a regular guy, not a regular guy. I mean, he's a super nice guy. And, just friendships kind of happen. And you don't need to kind of like say, hey, check this out, and get in people's faces. It just, you have something good, something people like, people will share it, and then people will find out about it. And, hopefully the right people find out about it. If you're looking like the right influencers or people in that space will find out about it and, share with their audiences. So it kind of happened organically on its own. So, and I was talking to a buddy of mine a few months ago. Then we had a similar conversation. I need to get in front of Gary Vee and these guys, so that there's. And then he told me the same thing. He's like, just it'll happen. Just give it time. Don't force it. Don't try to like spam people, go into Facebook groups and say, hey, check out my new tool. Just let it happen on its own. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it's the right people, will introduce you to the right people. It's just going to happen on its own if it's meant to be. So don't be that guy who just says, hey, buy this, check this out. So it's a good lesson to have. Just things happen on their own when they're meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. But what I mostly got from that for myself is that you just focused on the relationship that you had and make sure that they were satisfied with what you had. And then they were so satisfied with, the value that you gave them, that they started talking to other people, which got you in contact with, for example, John Lee Dumas. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So, man, we haven't introduced you yet. So I like that. I like to first start off with something really big, and this was definitely something that I really was interested in hearing the golden nuggets from you right away. But Hani, let's share with us, what's your background story, what's your family setup, of course, because us from Become a Fearless Father are very interested in how many kids you have, how long you married, etc., etc.
Yeah. So I'm from Toronto, Canada. I live in Toronto, Canada now. Actually, I was originally born in the Middle East, but we moved to Canada when I was 12 years old. And married, we have 2 kids, 6 and 10, 2 girls, lots of fun. I never had sisters growing up, so it's been a very interesting journey having 3 lovely ladies in my house, like me and my wife and 2 kids. So it's very, very interesting. And what else can we say? It's a fun, busy house, and what can I say? Life is good. Life is busy, but life is good with 2 young children and a family.
I definitely, Toronto is a beautiful city. I've been there once and I absolutely loved it. Just a question, because I had the feeling from your Facebook, you've done the basically, what everybody must do according to whoever decided, but, study a lot. And did you, after the study, did you run into like the 9-to-5 business and start that first before you finally start discovering, okay, this is not for me, I really need to
Yeah, no, I went to school, got a computer engineering degree, got a job, full time. Um, and then, this until 7, no, now probably not almost 10 years ago, it went down from full time to part time. I still do a part time. So I'm kind of doing this between this and the other kind of part time. So I do cut down to 4 days a week, and just I don't know. One day it just hit me like, I was learning a lot for my job. I love it. We're creating things. It's in the software space, but I just always had this itch. I wanted to create something my own. Like, I've always been a video guy. Like as a kid, I loved making videos for my family and taking all the vacation photos and making it to video montage, all that stuff that takes hours and hours as a kid. And even as a teenager, I just loved doing it. It was so fun. And then it said, I just love creating. I realized I was kind of had that creator feel. And actually, I see my daughter the same thing. She likes to create things, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, I just felt I need to create something. I didn't know what it was. I honestly did not know what it was, but I knew I had to create something and just try this thing. Everyone's doing online. I started blogging, and it was great, fun. I teach people, but I wasn't creating. Like I wasn't creating something that someone can use, especially a software. So one day I was sitting there, I said, you know what? Software skills. I love video. I'm going to make a software for video. And that was that moment. I didn't know what the software was, but that was kind of like the starting point where I knew that was it. I was excited about it. And then it just kind of evolved into the first WordPress plugin that I created. I didn't do it all myself. Of course, you got to be smart about things, right? You got to know your time. We just had our first daughter. You got to be smart. So I was like, okay, I'm a software guy, technical guy, whatever, but I'm not going to spend, 20 hours a day. I don't have 20 hours a day to be coding it all. So I focus more on like architecting what the concept is, how it all works, and then getting a developer to work with me on putting it together. So, being a parent, being a husband, being a father, you gotta kind of know your limits and just try to create something. Doesn't always mean you doing all the work.
Absolutely. That's great advice as well. So I got to ask in regards to repurpose.io, let's just do the whole what, why, where, when, who, for, riddle. Just so people get a little bit more feeling of like, hey, is this for me? How can I use it? Because, well, I can scream to everybody. It's absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to start using it myself. But, who better than you to tell the insights?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of all the software that we've created, like the teams, I say we, but this is our team, it's created, is basically taking a piece of content that you created once and putting it on multiple platforms. So putting it on your blog, putting it on YouTube, putting it on Facebook, putting maybe little clips on Twitter and little clips on Instagram, that kind of stuff. So that's the idea. So it's not sharing posts. It's not like your Buffer or that kind of software. The idea is it's focused strictly on content, audio and video content. So Repurpose first started off when our first early beta was helping podcasters. A big thing people were doing was taking audio content, so an audio podcast, and they want to convert it. They want to put it on YouTube. Since you can't upload audios to YouTube, people were putting images and making videos out of the audio. So that was the main focus. I'm like, how do I do this? A few people were starting to do it, but how do I do it, A, automatically? And B, how do I do this in a way that it looks good? Like it has to look good. Otherwise, I mean, no one's going to sit there and watch, a 30-minute video on YouTube, but capture their attention in the beginning with some motion, some dynamics. And then it's just having your content on another platform where people can find it. It's a no-brainer. So that was the goal, automation and make it look good. So that was the first feature we built, is basically you plug in your podcast feed and then all your episodes show up in our software. You can literally publish one by one or just turn on auto switch, and then every single episode will be turned into a video and uploaded to YouTube. Wow. And you can choose a template or design your own template, upload it to our system one time. So the key is you upload things one time. So you're not in there making an image for every single episode. No one has time for that, right? That defeats the point of doing it, right? So yeah, it basically automatically takes your entire podcast, converts the videos, puts it on YouTube. You can also put it on Facebook, which I highly recommend as a video. So Facebook, we know, loves video. So we've added the feature where you can upload this video as well to Facebook.
Amazing.
That's how it was born. That's kind of like the starting point. And then Facebook Live, kind of what we're doing now, is people were like, had another struggle. They said, you know what? I hate the fact that I got to go to Facebook, download the video after I'm done, and then upload it to YouTube. Is there a way to automatically do this? Is there a way to automatically do this? So I'm like, let me see. So we did that. We added the feature where as soon as you're done going live, within 30 minutes to an hour, our system will automatically grab the video for you off of Facebook and upload it to YouTube for you. And then they kind of expanded, said, hey, what else can we do? So when we're taking audio to video, we said, hey, why don't we go video to audio? Now you can go live on Facebook. We can strip out the audio for you and send that to your podcast host. We integrate with Libsyn and SoundCloud right now. Or you can send it to your Dropbox folder. So you have it right there as an MP3, automatically shows up in your Dropbox, and you and your team can do what you want. Kind of one step forward. We added intros and outros. So it's just growing right now. It's based on user feedback. It's, hey, people want to automate this system where the whole point of the whole software is you should be able to create the content once, whether you're doing it through audio and you don't want to be on camera, or you can do it through Facebook Live, or you can do it through any video you record on your computer and then uploading it to Facebook. That's your starting point. And then from there, you can have that content go to YouTube, go to Facebook, go into as an audio format. And then we've added snippets, so you can do short audio clips, little teaser clips on Twitter automatically. We can't upload to Instagram yet, but we can send them into vertical format and square formats, so they're Instagram compatible to your Dropbox, so you can upload them to your stories, whatnot. And the couple things we're working on now is getting it to LinkedIn right away, so we can do direct up LinkedIn. That's coming very soon. And then I'm excited about this feature is video resizer and video snippets. So right now, the only snippets you can do if you have an audio podcast, you can trim the audio and then we make a short video for you. But we're taking a Facebook Live, like what we're doing right now. You can have a video trimmer just show up on the screen. You can pick a 1-minute segment, say I want it to be square format, put a title on the bottom and like bars on the top and bottom, and say go, and then repurpose. We'll just take that 1-minute clip and send it to your Dropbox or send it to Twitter or whatnot. So exciting. And the whole point being is you create the content once. You don't have to keep making these videos. You just take an existing video, using our system, you can manage it all and distribute it. Exactly.
And not just that, because I'll explain a little bit for you and for everybody that's listening or watching how it works for me. So we're live right now. It takes about between 30 minutes and an hour. And what I do is this is on Zoom and on Facebook Live. So it will get automatically downloaded on my computer. I will then upload it to Premiere Pro, right? Put my intro in, put my outro and my logo, make sure that's on there. So that takes time. I then take the audio off of that and the video. Have to upload the video, of course, again, manually on YouTube. I have to upload it onto my membership area as well as the audio. Where else does it go? It goes on my podcast. And usually, or with my morning live, so me just by myself, I also put it on LinkedIn. So I have to download it, as you mentioned, I have to download it from Facebook and upload it on LinkedIn. So pretty much if I go live for 5 minutes, it takes me like between 30 minutes and an hour to get everything done. So, yeah.
You don't feel like going live anymore because it's so much work, right?
That's a lot of work. Yep, absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. So my question is then also, because of course I put a lot of text in there, right? Headline text. Is that automatically, does that go with it as well? Or how does that work?
Yeah. So let's take Facebook Live to YouTube as a kind of simple example. Yeah. Whatever title you give your Facebook Live, whatever description you put in there, automatically get any custom thumbnails you upload to Facebook will automatically get transferred to YouTube. So the thumbnail will become your thumbnail on YouTube. Your title will become title on YouTube. The description will become a description on YouTube. But you also, in our software, you can have a call to action. so that you can have a kind of call to action, say, hey, that we can put in the beginning of your description on YouTube. This is my website, hanimourra.com, whatever. So people can click your YouTube description and go to anywhere you want. So you can add that generic call to action in your setup and repurpose, so that it just automatically adds it to every single episode. And one thing I didn't mention is, even though this software is designed to be fully automated, you don't have to use the full automation. You can log into our system, hit publish. Does it pick the episode you want? Hit publish. It just pops up. It gives you an opportunity to tweak the title, the description. Sometimes people want to change the wording a little bit before they go on YouTube. So you have total flexibility. You can control the text before it goes to YouTube. So you don't have to worry about things always going on autopilot. Some people like some of their setups to go on auto and some of them to be manual. They want to log in and control it. But one thing we're adding very soon, is probably in the next few months, is scheduling. So that's one thing people have been probing us for. Like, listen, we love everything, but I wish I can click a button here and say, I want to schedule this right now, or schedule this for tomorrow, or schedule this for whatever I want. So that's what we're going to be doing probably in the next few months, maybe a month or two. So that's going to be exciting. So you can log in, create all your little snippets, create all your episodes, queue them all up, and then just don't worry about it. You just, every day you're going to have new content on YouTube, and then the next day you'll go on Twitter, and the next day you'll go on LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, you got me excited, because one thing I did mention is what I do with this live interviews with the recording later on is I every single question that we've talked about, right? So, or questions that we're going to talk about, I chop them up, because not everybody has an hour or is interested in an hour listening. Like somebody that already knows about repurpose, right? Why would he want to listen to this again? He knows it, and then, it doesn't make sense. But maybe he's very interested in talking later about your daughter doing the young ninja warrior thing, right? So I want to chop that up, so you can just look for that part, right? That's what you mean with snippets?
Exactly. So right now it's audio snippets. Like today, right now, if you log in, if you have an audio podcast, you can pick a 30-second segment of the audio and then make a little cool looking video out of it. But what we're adding this month is that you can take this Facebook Live video and then shoot a 1 minute or whatever size you want video snippet, and even have it go into square format, vertical format. If you're going to do it as an Instagram story, whatever you want, you can choose how long the video clip is and what shape it's in, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really cool. So I'm excited about that, because people love audio snippets, but a lot of people who do Facebook Lives, they can't use that feature. So video snippet is what we're working on right now.
Nice. Man, I think we can talk about this the whole
I know.
The whole live interview. Let's not, but
I can geek out about this stuff all the time, because I know what's coming, and it's like people want to see all these features, and we're working on it. I'm so excited. But I don't want to kind of talk too much about the software. Just kind of talk about more about kind of, I guess, it was about fatherhood and stuff. So I'm happy.
Absolutely. No, this, okay. You're absolutely right. However, I want to mention to you that for me, like, that's why I call it Fearless Father. For me, a fearless father is a father that is an entrepreneur. And the reason for that is that you can be a fearless father, but if you're never with your kids, then are you really a father? Right? So for me, being an entrepreneur gives me so much freedom and so much opportunity. And I know you share the same, that to be with your kids, to do all crazy kind of stuff. So, but let me ask you this then. What is your philosophy in regards to, if you have to compare the 9 to 5, I call it 9 to 5 father, right? The father that goes out, works all day, and comes back late, in comparison to what we do, the dadpreneur.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with either. Like, there's not one is better than the other. Just like you said earlier, the flexibility, of pick up your kids when you need to, especially if you're depending on your family. Like my wife's works, like she's an entrepreneur as well, so she's got her own business, and so sometimes she's got to stay late to do something, but I'm flexible to come in, and vice versa. So just having that flexibility really allows you to spend more time, with your kids, and as a family as well. So yeah, it's about the flexibility. That's really what it is. I mean, this, if you have a job 9 to 5 that's flexible hours, great, take advantage of that, in the sense that try to be home. If you have kids, try to be home as early as you can. I know a while back, the kids were in an after school program, and there was, because, we couldn't make it there at certain times to pick them up. So they stayed after school. The time they get home is after 6. They have dinner and they go to bed. It's like 2 hours. You have a small 2-hour window to spend time with them, do their homework, have dinner, and then go to bed. And it's like, well, we didn't really spend time with them, right? I mean, even though, you're not really playing or doing stuff, but you're being together. So I'm feeling lately now we just have a lot more time from the time they come home from school, because they're not in the after school program anymore. When they come home till they go to bed, it's a long time. They have time to do their homework. They don't have to feel rushed. On Fridays we have music activities. Mondays we have this ninja class. So we have activities in the weekday in the evenings, and we don't feel as much pressure. We still can have dinner together. So yeah, I guess it boils down to flexibility and having more time to be at home.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I say that.
Yeah.
So, plus, as you mentioned, it's not just flexibility so they're home. It's if something happens, right? Because they're kids, they get sick, they get hurt, whatever it is. Sometimes they have to stay home a day, and you don't have to ask anybody but yourself, can I be here to take care of them? Which, you know the answer already, because it's always going to be yes, right?
It's always, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just a priority. Like, all right, everything else can wait, can be on hold. That's, if they need us, we're there. Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, the flexibility in that sense, and having more time with them, but also, like you said, more time to be there for them when in case of an emergency or whenever they need something. Which, knock on wood, doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you need, it's good to know that you can be there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, knock on wood, that it never has to happen. Well, I had last week, I brought my kids to school, and my oldest just started throwing up right before going on to school. Not big a deal. Half an hour later, he was better. He wanted to watch TV, and he wanted to watch. I'm like, no, I'll bring you back to school, or you're going to stay in bed.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes you get like, are you really sick, or are you just want to?
He definitely threw up.
No,
I mean, his whole coat was full, but still.
Of course, yeah.
He was still like, yeah. Anyway, look, man, you mentioned something like ninja class, and I saw the picture. Congratulations, third prize. That's freaking amazing.
Thank you.
And it just started to make me think. Mine are young, right? Mine are 3 and 5. But I am already thinking, like, because I keep hearing fathers such as you that have a little bit older kids, and they're talking about the passions of their kids and stuff like that. And, you got to put gasoline on that fire and just go with it. And I can't wait, right? So I'm just like, maybe sometimes pushing him a little bit, like, oh, you guys are doing karate. Come on, let's, So I'm holding myself back. But I'm just wondering, how did that come about? Because that whole ninja thing, that's not something that is what everybody does, right? So you see it, American Ninja Warrior, I think it's called, or something like that, was really impressive. But how did she, because it's your 10-year-old, right, that done that? That's doing it.
Actually, it's funny, we all do it now.
Sweet.
For my wife and I and my 6-year-old, like, we have a class together, the 4 of us all go every Monday night. We went last night and my body's sore, but yeah. We go every Monday night, and it all started because I totally agree. It's difficult. And we always have, my wife and I always talk about, like, how many activities do you put your kids in, and how do you know, like, okay, if they're not showing interest in this one, do you just let them pursue and go through, or do you shift? But are you teaching them that it's okay to give up? So we always had this internal struggle, but then at some point it got too busy. Like, they were doing a lot of activities, swimming, and then piano, and then gymnastics, and then dance, and then plus when you have 2 kids, you try to keep everything equal, and your schedule gets crazy because you're literally driving them around all the time. So yeah, I agree, it's totally difficult. This thing kind of happened naturally. Like, she was in gymnastics, she was doing gymnastics, she was okay at it, she enjoyed it, she didn't show a lot of excitement, but she didn't hate it, she liked it. And then the same gymnastics class had this just started they call it ninja training. So it's almost like gymnastics, but they kind of expanded to focus more on, like, monkey bars and running up, similar to ninja warrior style, because that was becoming popular. And she said, oh, I want to try this. And I was like, okay. She's very athletic. Like, she's tall and athletic. So she always liked these things. So anyway, so she tried it for a year. Yeah, I guess a year. They didn't offer the family class here. They offered just a single class for kids. And then a year later, they said, okay, we're going to open up a generations class. They called it parents and kids. And I asked her, do you want me to go with you? And I thought she might be embarrassed. She's like, yes, 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 come with me. So she was excited. I said, okay. And I was nervous. I was like, oh, I can't even do the monkey bars. Like, okay, sure. We went. Two of us went. We had a blast. Like, it was just like, we're challenging each other. It's like, I'm doing this. And she's like, oh, I can do better than you. And so it just became fun. And then my wife would come and she would watch because my daughter was too young to be part of it. And then there was another class. My younger daughter joined the class an hour earlier, like for the younger kids. And the coach said, you know what? She's really like, she's pretty mature for her age. Why don't we just bring her in? And then my wife joined. So now all four of us go, which is really cool. It's a great family time.
Yeah.
And we sweat for an hour from 7:45 to 8:45 every Monday night. And it's hard work. It's hard work. And it's cool to see them get better at things, but it's also cool for them to see us try things out. And they're like, oh, wow, you can do that? Oh, you can go on the rings? And like, they're seeing us pushing our limits and trying things new because, you know, as we're older and it's not as easy for us to do some of the things. We're doing flips on the trampolines and they're like, oh, wow, you can do that? I want to do it too. So it's a really fun dynamic. So that's been the thing that it just kind of happened with one. And then when the younger sister was watching her older sister, she's like, oh, I want to try this when I get older. And then the opportunity came and we kind of stuck with it. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of happened on its own. We've tried to put them in different sports, like team sports, soccer and stuff like that. I don't know. We just feel like at least the older one is not clicking with team sports very well. She's more of an individual. She loves to run. She joined track and field in her school. She did well actually in her school. So we're finding that she's favoring the non-team sport, like individual sports, which is okay. We still try to encourage her to do team sports because you learn lessons from being in a team and stuff like that. But we don't push too hard. If summer camps come up, we let them try. We encourage them, hey, why don't you join 1 week of soccer camp? You know, if they hesitate too much, we say no. So yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to find out what activities they like. But they're both doing piano now, and they're both excelling at it. So, and they enjoy it. So right now it's ninja and piano, which kind of works out because they're at the same time. Ninja, both kids and us. Piano is at the same day on Fridays in the same place. So we kind of nail it down to two things, and convenient for both kids at the same time at the same place, which I guess we're kind of lucky that way that it worked out. But yeah, I totally agree. It's just difficult, especially when they're younger, because they're like, oh, I don't want to do dance anymore. Like, why? Why are you giving up? And then you're like, okay, let's not push them too much. So it's when do you draw the line? I don't really have an answer, to be honest. It's a feeling that you just say, okay, you know what, let's try this. And if they're really like, they both love this ninja class, and my older one's doing competitions now, and she's really excelling. And she's very quiet, but when she competes, wow, it's a whole new, like she gets into like eye of the tiger mode, and she's just like, I'm going to win this. Like the first time she did it last summer was her first competition. She told me, she looked at me, she's like, it was Father's Day weekend. She's like, I'm going to win it for you. I'm like, okay, sweet, that's awesome, but don't put pressure on yourself. And but she won. She got first place in her group. And
nice.
It was very, very cool to see this quiet. She's very athletic, but very quiet, like not like an aggressive and hyper girl. And then when competition comes, she wants to win. She wants to win piano. She wants to be the best in her class. And she wants to be the best at everything, but in a very quiet way, which is, I don't know, it's cool to see your kids push themselves a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you a question then, because you're saying like, hey, she really wants to win, right? And she came in third. How does she deal with not winning? And maybe even more important, how did you deal with her emotions around that?
Yeah, well, to make it, yeah, that's a great question. I was worried when they said third place. I was like, gosh, you should have got at least second. Like from what I saw as a parent, like, oh, I know at least maybe first, maybe second, third. I was like, not disappointed. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But I was more worried because she already won last summer. She won first place in similar ninja competition. So I was like, oh, is she going to be, she feels she's getting worse or not? She seemed happy, like proud of herself.
Mm.
And the interesting thing, which really made us more proud, was that they had a kind of a second award for about a handful of people that said, okay, we're going to give out determination award. People who showed extra like passion, extra determination. She won determination award
Mm.
as well. And it was only like a handful of people out of the 50 people there that got it. And I think she was more proud of that. We were more proud of that. I said, you know what? She hurt her wrist. Like her wrist was hurting her all day. So she was doing push-ups with like her knuckles down because she couldn't bend her wrist back. But she didn't complain. She just did everything like everybody else. She just modified the techniques a little bit so that she won't hurt herself.
Mm-hmm.
She climbed the rope. Like she did everything like everybody else, even though her wrist has been bothering her for a few months now.
Wow.
And I think that's why she got the award. And that's why we're proud of her. Like, she's like, you did awesome. You pushed through. You didn't give up. You did more than a lot of people did with your wrist hurting. So I don't know if that award helped kind of compensate and made her feel better, but we told her we're very proud of you for getting third place, but we're more proud of you that you didn't give up, that you went through and you pushed yourself. And she was happy. She was like, you can tell when kids are kind of like pretending to be happy, but she was proud of herself. And I think especially for the determination award. So yeah, but we saw some kids that, had a hard time when they didn't get awards, and it happens. Like you feel bad, like you feel like you didn't do something. But no, it's just, we always tell her, you focus on being the best you. Like you're not competing against everybody else. You're competing against yourself. So when you run something and you do the practice round and you do it again, you're trying to beat your other score. You're not trying to beat the other kids. You're trying to beat yourself and improve yourself. So yeah, it's been going okay so far. She hasn't had she was okay with third, and she was happy with her determination award.
Nice. And great lesson there as well. Making sure that you're teaching your kid that, you don't have to worry about anybody else. Just try to improve yourself from who you were yesterday. That's something that as adults, I think we forget as well. We look around what everybody else does instead of looking at ourselves. Which
all the social media stuff, right? You see social media, everyone's doing this, and now how come I'm not doing that? But reality is you're just trying to improve yourself and be the best self you can be and be better than you were last week or last month.
So. Absolutely. So talking about that, one of the things that I'm struggling with my oldest son is that he's 5, so he doesn't get any homework yet, but every weekend we get books. And then we read the bedtime stories, right? And then he gets a piece of paper and he has to write his name, the characters, and the title of the book, I think it is. That's it. So he's starting to learn how to write and messes up sometimes, which is normal. Man, all hell breaks loose.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Woo. So he is so perfectionist that if he writes like a letter wrong and you tell him like, look, that's an N, that's not a K or something like that, right? Or that's an N, not an R. And he goes, I'm just wondering what would be your strategy on making sure that it becomes that it turns into a positive lesson instead of a battle of making sure that he finishes what he needs to be doing for school.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, my experience with my kids, I find my youngest one, she's excelling very well, and she handles like making mistakes. Okay, she makes a mistake, she gets the eraser, she fixes it. My older one she doesn't have a tantrum, but she's very sound like your son, is very perfectionist. He's like, if she doesn't get something right away, she's like, oh, I can't do this. Give up. What do you mean you only tried once? So it's been a struggle with her, because some things she does, she picks it up right away. It's for her, and then she gets really good at it. Piano was one thing that would shock me because I don't have any musical background. My wife does, but she just started playing piano. I'm like, wow, how do you play piano in just a couple of years? You're playing like way beyond. I can't even help you practice because I don't know what you're doing. You're so advanced. So she picked it up very quickly. Some things picked up very quickly. Some things, it's almost like all on or off with her. It's like there's no in between. If she struggles, she's like, I'm not good at this, I'm not going to do it. So I mean, we still struggle with it. We don't have a solution, but I was always just keep reminding her, like, just no one's, I mean, we say no one's good at anything when they first do it, but sometimes she doesn't believe that, because sometimes she does something and it's like, oh, okay, this was easy. It was easy for me. So we always give her examples like, hey, Michael Jordan, I bet you the first shot he took, I'm sure he missed it. I'm sure he was terrible when he was a kid playing basketball. Look at it, he was one of the best basketball players ever. Just try to remind her of examples that when you practice something over and over, you get better. It's okay to make mistakes. When you make a mistake, you try to learn from it so they don't try not to make that mistake again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of common stuff. I don't really have a good answer. We still, I don't want to say we struggle. We still see it in our daughter that she makes mistakes. She gets frustrated. She just gives up. It's like, okay, this is not my thing. I can't do it. Mm. Like, sweetie, you can't do that. You can't just say, you try to drive a car. You can't drive a car. Okay, I'm never going to drive a car my whole life again. You have to practice to get better at it. So just reemphasize repetition. Repetition makes you good at something. So that's kind of my only advice. I think it's slowly sinking in. As they get older, they'll realize it more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see your frustration. It's sometimes I wish, like, you just need to do it a couple times and make mistakes, and then you'll get better at it. It's tough. Exactly. It's tough as a parent to see your kids like get frustrated at themselves because they made a mistake.
Yeah, especially, well, for me at least, it's like, dude, it was just a letter, right? It's just he writes with a pen, so you can't erase it, but you just make a cross and then continue. But then the paper's messed up, so it's like
That's the oldest son or the youngest?
It's the oldest one.
It's the oldest. Yeah, I'm curious. It's like the youngest one, like they just, I made a mistake. I'll fix it, no problem. And I find like a huge personality difference in terms of like between the youngest and oldest. It's funny. I don't know if it's a consistent trend. The oldest has to be perfect or tries to be perfect. Maybe they put a lot of pressure on themselves. I don't know what it is, but I'm the middle child, so I don't know what it is.
I'm the only child, so I have no idea either. Okay. But yeah, no, with the youngest one, we have other problems. We won't go into that. So how do you deal with those kind of frustrations, or your kids doing something that you're like, why? For God's sake, why are you doing this? Do you have like a similar technique? Like for me, I breathe. I need to at least take some air, because if not, I'm going to blow up sometimes. But
no, I totally hear it.
What kind of technique, or what's your thing that you do to make sure that you stay calm and poised? Do you stay calm and poised?
Yeah, I try. Sometimes it's more like when there's a kind of going back and forth, which I say, do this. No, I don't want to do this. Oh, why should I do this? And this and that. Just, what? I always say, you're old enough now to make decisions. And then there's consequences to your decisions. I'm going to let you decide. And then kind of walk away, like not upset, just kind of say, just let it go and walk away and say, you're going to make a decision, and that's fine. But whatever consequences you have to work through. And if it's like they didn't want to, they always do their homework, but let's say like they didn't want to do something and there's a consequence in school, my wife and I talked about it. We said, we can't save them. We can't go in there and save them every time. If they've left something at home because we told them, hey, pack your bags the night before, and they forgot their shoes, and then we go to school, we bring their shoes, there's no lesson learned. Even though it's hard to say, oh, my child needs their shoes, but I mean, it's just an example. It's not shoes, maybe an extreme example, but let them fail, I think. And it's let them fail in whatever thing they decide to do. And it's not letting them fail, you letting them down. It's just let them make a mistake and then realize, oh, you know what, maybe I should have done this differently. But if we tell them don't do this because, and they never experience that because, sometimes I feel like it doesn't sink in. It's not real. It's just, oh, my parents are telling me this. My parents are telling me this. And I remember as growing up, my dad's always, especially when we moved to Canada, it's always like, wear a jacket. Don't leave the house with a jacket. I just still remember every single time, even as a teenager, 20-year-old, don't leave home with a jacket. Don't wear a jacket. And some days it's just like, I don't want to wear a jacket. And I'd be like, oh man, I should listen to my dad. It was cold today. I should have wore a jacket. So it's like, until I experienced this, like, okay, dad's right. It was cold. I should have worn a jacket. You got to let them, I don't say fail, but let them make that mistake. And then if it's really bad, then they'll learn something from it. Don't go in and jump in and save them always. Let them make a decision and let them follow up with the consequences, if there's any consequences to their decision. It's hard to do all the time, of course. As a parent, you always want to help your children and not let them fail or struggle, but within limits, it's better to let them fail and experience it. You can't win everything. You can't have your parents save you and bring you stuff and all the time. Like, you have to be dependent. You have to think on your own. Our biggest challenge is thinking now. I find they're very smart, book smart. When it comes to common sense stuff, they want to be spoon-fed everything. It's like, they're not growing up thinking on their own. They're growing up like, okay, what do we do now? What should I do now? Okay, take your left foot, move it this way. Take your right foot, move it this way. Take your left. Like, they almost want me to tell them every single step. It's probably our fault. As growing up, we kind of babied them. You do with babies. You tell them what to do every single step. Wipe your mouth. Blow your nose. Go do this. Whatever. I think they just got used to that, and now they don't know how to make decisions. Simple decisions like, oh, I need to get up and make my bed. I need someone to tell me to make my bed so I can go make my bed. So we're probably to blame as parents because we babied them along the way. But that's one thing we're pushing now is just think before you do. Start thinking. Any word that comes out of your mouth, any question you ask, think about it. Because sometimes you already know the answer, but you want to ask anyways because it's easier to ask somebody than to think about the answer. So that's kind of the phase we're at now with both kids, actually. Is become more become more independent, think on your own before you do things, because they're getting older now and they're out there in school all day. We don't know what decisions they're making in school, right? We want to know that they can have the common sense that they do. But yeah, let them fail, let them think. Those are the two things. That's kind of the two areas the two phases we're at now with our kids.
Nice. Yeah, and especially what you said, like, let them feel, let them experience themselves within the boundaries that you have set, without them knowing, of course, what those boundaries are, but so they can bounce left and right between those boundaries that you set. See, the issue that I had was I let them experience, and then school all of a sudden starts coming at me like, my youngest broke a tire. That broke off the tail.
Oh my God.
He's a little aggressive. I wouldn't say aggressive, but yeah, no, let's keep it aggressive. So punching, pushing, kicking, he didn't do it when he was in kindergarten. Now all of a sudden he's in school. He's catching up, I guess. So he broke it and we had to pay for it. So I told him, I said, so where's the lesson in for him?
Right.
How does he learn? Yeah, that's your job. I said, no, I wasn't there. I can't teach him now that he shouldn't break it. I wasn't there. I teach him when he breaks something at home, because I'm there. That's when they respond. He's only 3. How is he going to respond if afterwards Daddy's going to pay for it? Right. Yeah, no discussion.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, like when they're outside of school, when outside the home, it's still the responsibility falls on you as a parent, which makes sense. But then the lesson is missed if you don't show an action and a reaction to their action immediately. Then they don't feel the consequences. They don't feel any consequence. They feel like, oh, okay, well, my parents will take care of it. It's no big deal. Oh, they'll buy me another one. If I break this, they'll buy me another one. That doesn't work that way in life, right? You gotta take responsibility for things. But yeah, it's only 3, so that's the different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're right. I agree. It's like if there's other factors like school that are making the child kind of feel like there's less responsibility on them.
Yeah, it's difficult to. I love when I have conversations with fathers on this show and they homeschool to figure out and to learn a little bit from them. Like, okay, how do you guys do this, and how is that set up? And of course, then you got full control. But trust me, you got different challenges then. So
yeah, exactly.
The challenges are always there.
There's always a challenge. Yeah, I mean, being a parent is challenging, and there's no book that teaches you all the steps and you kind of have to figure it out as you go, and based on your experience as a child, and based on how your parents raised you, and based on what you've learned in life. So yeah, it's a fun challenge. Frustrating a lot of times, but it's fun. It's fun. I always focus on like those. I always tell my wife, like, there's these moments that someone says something funny and then we all just start laughing, and it's just kind of like makes up for all the stress we've had all week. Like, there's just these split seconds that happen that just like, wow, this is why this is amazing, right? And that makes up for all the frustrations for the whole week. Just that 5 seconds or 10 seconds of laughing or the joke or doing something together. You know, it's just the small moments make up for all the frustrations.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
What would be your biggest tip for fathers in regards to fatherhood?
My tip from my experience is spend time with your children early. Like I know when my daughter was 6 months old, I would stay home one day a week and be with her. My wife would go to work one day a week because she had her own business, and she had, I think, 6 months or 8 months. It was very early, and was our first daughter. I had no idea like what to do, and nervous because I'm home alone with her. But you know, one day she didn't learn. The bottle was always a struggle with her, and she was crying and crying. I'm trying to feed her, and I'm like, I either you take the bottle or you're gonna get hungry. But she's crying and screaming, and eventually she took the bottle, and it's like, I don't know. You just feel like helpless sometimes. But sorry, I deviated. The point was spend time early because it builds that bond down the road. Like right now, we're very close. I feel like I've always been there. She feels like I've always been there for that age. Now we're very close. You know, she's 10, and we're still very close. And the same with my second daughter. I spend time with her as well, one day a week with her. So it's hard. Sometimes it's not possible, depending on your work situations. But if the opportunity is there, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. You become a figure in their mind. Like, you become a big part of their life early on, and then that relationship just gets stronger as you go on. Instead of trying to kind of become more involved when they're 10, it's more difficult, right? So the earliest you can, that's from my experience. I found that it was just a very strong bond.
Absolutely, I like that. And I wanted to see if this is your experience as well. Being alone with them, they teach you more about yourself than you could learn on your own.
Yeah. When you're young, when they were very younger, like before they can speak, I remember this moment. I was like, I sat there one day, you know, she's not talking. Maybe she's under a year. I can't remember. Anyway, spend the whole day with her playing and her toys and stuff. And then I realized, I was sitting there, like half the day goes by. I'm like, wow, I've been talking for the past 3-4 hours to this person, and she's talking back to me with her smile, with her action, but not with words. I'm just like, I felt like I had a conversation for half a day, and it's like, this was so great. But I was like, I wasn't talking then. I mean, it was not a two-way conversation with words. It was words and then actions, reactions, smiles, you know, laughs. But it was just like, it was such a weird but cool experience that you just realize, wow, I can just spend time with this person without necessarily having to communicate with words. And now it's, you know, now I find it difficult not difficult. It's a little challenging when there's two kids to get the one-on-one time. But I don't know, like I enjoy the one-on-one time because I learn about myself, and I learn about how much impact I'm making on them based on their actions. If they do things and they say things, or they say things that I've done, or they see me, for example, they see this microphone. The first thing they do, they come and they start talking on a microphone. Because they see me do it, they see me using it, and they're like, they're interested. I'm like, good. I'm having that, you know, influence on them. They see me make videos. They want to learn how to make videos. You see the impact, the effect, the stuff that you do, even though you're not teaching them right away, but they see you do it, and they get excited about it. Coding is one thing. My oldest one started doing coding using not like real programming language, but using these apps so you can, it's a visual builder, but she build a game, actually a podcasting game. Is kind of funny. That we made it really funny because one day she's like, here, watch this. So a bunch of microphones are coming down and you have lips. You have to catch all the microphones. She's like, I made a podcasting game for you. And I was like, I was almost in tears. I was like, A, here's her talking about podcasting. B, she just coded this thing on the iPad on her own, like putting logic and loops and if statements. And I was like, wow, she's like interested in the software side, interested in the podcasting. She makes YouTube videos now. I don't let her publish it publicly yet, but she makes videos and edits them with iMovie. So the stuff that you do and you teach them things and then you see them take those skills and use them. I don't know. It's just like, you feel like you're passing a part of you onto them. And that's very rewarding, very exciting. And one of my favorite things is when I'm fixing something around the house, especially like the router, the modem, something like computer tech related. My youngest, she's not interested. My oldest, she sees me with this like network adapter thingy. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, watch, you plug in this cable here and then you see all the lights. We're checking if there's a pin broken in the cable, whatever. She's like, oh, so plug this in here. And then she was very intrigued, like, why am I taking the outlet out and checking this network jack? And I explained to her how it all works. She's like, oh, I get it. So if all the lights go on, that means the cable's all over. And just seeing her think logically and take interest in the things I like to do is awesome. Like it's fun. That's like the best bonding time when you spend a few minutes together fixing something around the house and the best is when they come to you. It's not like I say, hey, come help me fix this. They see me doing something. They come, what are you doing? Oh, can I help you? Let's see this. And then I explained to her and those moments, those are like really precious moments. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, you see your impact on them and the stuff that you do. And when they start doing it back or when they start taking more interest in what you do. So it's a lot of fun. It's happening more now as they're getting older. Especially my oldest, she's, when she was 8 or 9, she started taking more and more interest in the video side of things, a little bit of the coding side. And so it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to see them think. Like I said, their common sense, I'm still working on improving somehow, but they're logical, book smart, logic smart. They have all that. It's just the common sense is one area I hope, but we can't really teach them common sense. They just have to know it. But anyway, it's very exciting. It gets more and more exciting as they get older. They take more interest. You see what their interests are, right? When they're young, they're experimenting and trying different things. When they focus on something, it's like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I have to watch out when I hear you talk and the other fathers as well that have older kids. It's like, oh, I wish my kid was 10 already, right? Because that would be a skip from 5 to 10. It's like,
yeah, no, enjoy it. It's got its own challenges, of course. So like, I've always looked at every window, like every period as its own exciting things happening and then its own challenges. Right? So it's not like I don't look forward to them to being teenagers. For sure, I don't. But I know it's going to have a lot of good things and, a lot of challenges as well. So every phase has its own. So don't look forward, just enjoy like that. Enjoy them now as they are, because when they grow up, you're like, oh, I wish they were young. I wish my kids were younger now. Like I wish mine were still 3 or 4 or 5 because I feel they're growing up so fast. Especially my 6-year-old. She's very mature. She's very tall. She speaks like an 8-year-old. Like she's very just mature. I don't know, because her sister was an influence to her. So I wish they were going back in time when they were getting younger. So enjoy every phase for what it is, the good and the bad.
Exactly. That's great advice to finish this live interview. We've almost been talking for an hour, and I also want to give you the opportunity to let people know if they have any other questions, if they want to purchase or get more information about repurpose.io, how can they find you? How can they stay in contact with you?
Yeah, honestly, the best way is if you go to, I have a website, simple one page, is at hanimourra.com. It has links to my Facebook, it has links to my Twitter, the products I've been working on, and there's a little blog link as well. So it's just kind of like a one pager, hanimourra.com, HANIMOURRA.com. And happy to connect on either Facebook, Instagram, whatever your favorite. I try to stay off social media every minute, so I'm on there like every hour, but I'm trying to cut back. But yeah, I'm available in pretty much all the channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, I'm happy to meet, ask questions, or just to connect with people.
Excellent. I'll make sure that for the people that are listening to the recording, you can find the link right below, as always. So by all means, make sure that you connect with Hani. Hani, I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Had a great time. It went completely different than I had planned, so I always love that.
Well, that's good. I tend to talk a lot, so I hope I didn't
No, it was
talk too
perfect.
much in this interview.
No, I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. You shared tons of great information that I'm going to work on. And I always love when people keep repeating, not repeating, but everybody that's a step further from what I call the zombie dad just keeps reminding everybody, look, be present, just enjoy the now. Instead of looking forward, for example, now it's Tuesday already to the weekend. Like in the weekend, we're going to do this. But Tuesday just started. Got the whole, not even talking about the other day. This Tuesday just started. Why are we looking already at the weekend, right? So I really enjoyed that. So again, thank you so much for taking the time for being on. I really appreciate it. Everybody else that's been on, that's been listening, thank you. I really appreciate you being here as well, spending your time with us, and looking forward to seeing, hearing, and talking to you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out, you got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.